Hello, hockey fans, and welcome to this week's Winners and Losers. A look at the standings. I want to go a little bit more in depth this week because with 2 weeks to the playoffs, some teams are trending downwards. As much as their position in the standings hasn't changed, they are losing a pile of games. For example, Philadelphia with a 6-4 record. Mind you, they picked up 2 points in shootout overtime losses. Aren't doing so well. They've jumped all the way up to second place with a 9-1 record. They are ready for the playoffs. Boston has won 1 game in their last 6. They have a 4-3-3 record over the last week and are currently on a 2-game losing streak. Pittsburgh as well has been struggling. They're playing 500 hockey with a 5-3-2. And Tampa, who played the Senators this weekend, I saw them on Saturday night. They look really bad. I mean, they lost that game in the third period. They had no energy, no solution to Ottawa in that period. As much as they led for 2 periods with a 2-0 score, they've lost 2 in a row here and have a 2-4-4 record. That is pretty bad. Montreal continues to impress despite their injuries with a 7-3-0 record over the last week. And the New York Rangers with a 6-4-0 record. They've won 4 in a row. They've moved up a position in the standings and are looking more ready for the playoffs than ever. Buffalo is keeping Toronto at bay. They've just lost one, but they do have a 500 record and find themselves in 8th place. Carolina as well. They've won 1. They have a losing record, mind you, but so does the bottom half of this league. I mean, the only one that has a winning record at the moment is New Jersey, and they've moved up a position into 13th, but the loss to Ottawa and a couple of other ones is making it a lot harder for them to make the playoffs now. There's not enough games left, and with these extra points that everybody else seems to be getting, they're going to have a hard time making it. So going into the playoffs here, Washington's looking really good, and then Philadelphia, Boston, Pittsburgh are very inconsistent over the last week, and they're going to have to pull their socks up. So except for Washington, everybody else is going into the next 2 weeks with a losing record. They're going to have to get on track, especially Boston. Like I said, they've only won 1 in the last 6, and everybody else just seems to be in that 500, below 500, especially Tampa. I mean, there's a chance here Tampa could fall right out of it, but not necessarily. They should be good enough, but they can't go limping into the playoffs like this. They can't keep losing like this. A 2-4-4 record is not something that Tampa wants to go into the playoffs with. So let's see what happens here, and the next couple of weeks are going to tell the tale as far as how these teams are going to do in the playoffs. So let's look at the Western Conference now, and here's a huge difference between the two conferences. Almost everybody in the West has a winning record, except for Detroit that has a 500 record, and Los Angeles that has a 500 record. The thing is, though, is that there's been a lot of movement in the West again. Dallas is out of the playoffs again, and Anaheim, Nashville, they're all back in, and Calgary's dropped all the way down to 10th. Not a good sign for Calgary, especially since teams against them have games in hand. So Vancouver at 8-2-0 is still dominating the league. Detroit, they've been winning and losing, but they've picked up a possible 12 points in the last 10 games. San Jose is still at the top. They've won 3 in a row. And Phoenix as well has a good record at 6-3-1. They're looking to make the playoffs this year despite the mess in Phoenix. And there's been more news on that today. I'll speak about it on a different video. Chicago's still hanging on at 6-2-2. They've won 1. And Los Angeles has lost 2. They've dropped a couple of positions, but they're still in the playoffs. And then welcome Nashville and Anaheim. But they have excellent records at 6-2-2, and Anaheim at 8-2, won 3 in a row this week. They moved up 2 positions to be in the playoffs. Dallas lost 1, but they've dropped 3 positions. They have a 500 record. So, I mean, this whole thing is still up in the air as far as the West is concerned. The second week, the last week before the playoffs start, is going to go a long way towards deciding where these teams finish. And it's going to be fun to watch. But like I said, the top 8 in the West have winning records or at least playing 500, whereas in the East, the top teams do not. Until next time.